I still hear your voice when you sleep next to me. I still feel your touch in my knee. Forgive me my weakness, but I don't know why. Without you, it's hard to survive. 'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I'll be fine. Can't you feel my heart beat fast? I want this to last. Need you by my side. 'Cause every time we touch, I feel the static, and every time we kiss, I reach for the sky. Can't you hear my heart beat? I can't let you go. Want you in my life. 'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I could fly. Can't you feel my heart beat fast? I want this to last. Need you by my side. Your arms are my castle. Your heart is my sky. They wipe away tears that I cry. The good and the bad times we've been through them all. You make me rise when I fall. 'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I'll be fine. Can't you feel my heart beat fast? I want this to last. Need you by my side. 'Cause every time we touch, I feel the static, and every time we kiss, I reach for the sky. Can't you hear my heartbeat sound? I can't let you go. Want you in my life. 'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling. And every time we kiss, I swear I could fly. Can't you feel my heartbeat fast? I want this tonight. Need you by my side. Remember those walls I built? Oh, baby, they're tumbling down. It didn't put up a fight. It didn't make a sound. I found a way to let you in, but never really had a doubt. Something out of your halo. I got my angel now. It's like I've been awakened. Every rule I had you breaking. It's the risk that I'm taking. I am never gonna shut you out. Everywhere I'm looking at, I'm surrounded by your grace. Baby, I can see your halo. I know you're my saving grace. You're everything I need in my life. It's written all over your face. Baby, I can feel your hate.
Can anyone hear me?
Yep,
Loud and
loud
clear.
and clear.
Hey guys, how's everyone?
Hi, hello.
Hello, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Clear.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry for the late. And firstly, I think let's have our guests to say hi with our audiences first. And I think the from Infinite Pony.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, host, and thank you, everybody else. And my name is Tony. I'm the founder and the CEO of Ink Finance. I was trained as a electrical engineer and a computer engineer, but I got into finance as an institutional quant trader. I was once head of Asia Pacific trading for ABS and BS at Citi, and I was also a managing director as an asset manager at Deutsche Bank. After I left the institution, I co-founded a fintech and a medical AI-focused VC. I got into crypto in 2018, and back in late 2020, I was fortunate to have found great partners and co-founders. So we founded Ink Finance, and it is actually a scaling infrastructure for any collaborative finance activities on chain. So what it does is it can do ecosystem governance from large networks to standalone organizations, and for their treasury management, for fundraising, financing, risk control, and compliance related issues. And a use case can be RWA issuance and underwriting, DeFi liquidity pooling, and the Web2, the mass consumer economy migration to Web3. It is a highly flexible with a plug and play modular design. And basically, it is take what you need kind of infrastructure. There's no one hat fits all. And it'll be my pleasure to share some of the details later. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Tony, for the details. And yeah, we're so happy to have you today and continue to share with our audiences of what is Ink Finance, and also to share the opinions of our today's questions. So glad to have you and thank you. And I think next let's have Jackson from MPAA, the ambassador of the MPAA. So Jackson, you there? Are you here?
Me, yeah?
Yeah. Please make a brief introduction of yourself and
Yeah.
also share some details of 4E.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm the business development lead for EMEA region at 4E, a global leading financial asset trading platform. So 4E offers a wide range of financial products. We do stocks, forex, commodities, precious metals, and digital currencies. We offer a secure platform, convenient and innovative for you to trade. So yeah, thank you for having us. Great to be here.
Okay, thank you, Jackson, for sharing the details, and so glad to have you with us today. And next, I think let's have, I think it's Mr. Adrian. I'm not sure if my pronunciation is right. Okay.
That's right. My name is Adrian. Hey
Uh
guys,
huh.
everyone. Welcome to the space. Brief intro. My name is Adrian. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of TRL. Stands for the Real Lifestyle Company. We are an RWA ecosystem, venturing into real estate. Essentially, what we want to do is to create an ecosystem where investors can borderlessly, seamlessly, and accessibly invest in real estate around the world via tokenization. And that's across multiple different property portfolios. After the tokenization, we then generate the yield, which is the second part of the ecosystem for us. We offer a range of products. I'm going to mention one today, which is the world's first home subscription service. So you pay one price, you stay anywhere in the world across all of our properties. And then the third part of the ecosystem is an open marketplace where property agents around the world, developers can start to tokenize their real estate. Sellers so on and so forth as well. So that's overall exactly what we do. Our first 3 portfolios are launching in. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, and for the details and also tell us about you guys are working right now. And yeah, I think next let's have, I think it's Alfia. Am I correct for the pronunciation? Yeah, hi, I am the co-founder of MetaBeam. Hi, can you hear me?
Hey, hello. I can.
Okay, so please say hi with our audiences and also make a brief introduction of yourself and
Okay,
the
thank you so
project.
much. Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Alfia, co-founder of MetaBeam. We provide users with a truly decentralized social network where you have complete control over your account and privacy. With us, you can create posts, profiles, engage with others, transfer tokens during the chat, and invite friends all without needing an email to sign up. It's like a truly 200% decentralized. So we are already live. So there's too much, a lot of things to explore with our application, and then we can't wait for you to join us. Thank you. And then if like we also having some thoughts about if you have doubts about some decentralized or DeFi products, then we are willing to accept the challenge to say that we are 100% decentralized. So happy to like have some challenges in the future. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Afia, for the details about you guys are doing, and yeah, looking forward to more opinions you will share with us later. So I think Jackson is not here right now, but we can just go ahead. So here is the first question for the people. Like a lot of people are saying that RWAs will play a major role in the DeFi pump coming up. Is there any truth to it, or can we get your perspectives on that? I think that's a question. Let's start from Tony.
Uh, Thank you. I think the blockchain space and since DeFi summer, and I think many of us are project founders, right? We already, I guess every one of us is feeling that a sector pump, whether it, if it ever materialize or if it ever can last, has become a real issue, right? We every day are in the space, we're trying to get our products accepted and get the users like it, get investors, like embracing it. We realize, or at least from my perspective, to say there is a sector-wise pump, right? You stick a label to it and you say this is a sector, so let's pump. I honestly don't believe whether it's RW or anything else can actually pump something. And I think it is over time of all of us to add real solutions and the real products and the real services to the industry. And in the DeFi sector specifically, I think RWA is a class of assets that can enrich this sector, right? And so the DeFi that we're used to are individual to, to a pool, that kind of a trading. Now, can we add a whole class of different assets to this space to enrich the experience and to increase returns and bring a whole different kind of wealth management product to the space? I think that probably is more real than hoping that this concept can somehow repump the entire sector. I think that is my personal view on this question.
Okay, thank you, Tony, for the very insightful opinions about this question. And then let's have Jack. So, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, so I think well, there's several points that makes it more kind of unique in terms of RWAs, because look, so RWA represents a natural extension of DeFi, right? So it links traditional finance with the blockchain, essentially tokenization, right, of physical assets, right? It seems like it can boost liquidity, right, and increase access in the DeFi markets, right? It's something new, right? It connects something that's completely virtual into something that's real, right? So things like real estate, commodities, right, and you got fractional ownership as well. So many person can own one thing. I mean, if it works, right? There's lots of things that's in question, right, because you have increased adoption of these RWAs, right, that can create more trust in DeFi, right? So traditional investors can participate in these tangible assets, right? Where normally DeFi are just totally high risk, completely just doesn't make any sense. I mean, look at the meme coins, right? 99.9% of them goes to zero, right? Everybody knows that, but people still gamble with them, right? Gamble is the only word that we'll use, right? You don't trade them, you gamble with them, right? But with RWA, I think there's some, it brings some sort of legitimacy, right, to a token and things like that. But obviously, there's also problems, right? So you have things like there's that volatility, okay, and that speculative nature of crypto also comes in to RWAs as well, right? So I think, yeah, in a way, RWAs could be pivotal in the next wave of DeFi innovation, but it needs to have that regulatory framework aligned, right? Because you are dealing with something that's real life, right? You're dealing with something that's in the real world, right? If you do that, then there's going to be regulations and there's going to be governance, right? So it's actually going against what crypto and DeFi and blockchain kind of means. It depends how the governance is done, and would there be an actual adoption of people using DeFi for these kind of stuff? Right? There's got to be a very good reason to do that. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jack, for the very, I think it's interesting and also very true about this question. And for thank you so much. And next, I think we will have Afia. Can you share a little bit about this question with us, about your opinions? Hi, Alfia, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, I can hear you now because I saw your mic is open, but there's no voice actually.
Okay, sorry. I have a really bad connection
Okay.
right now. Sorry about that. About this
Okay.
question, I have like, if you're going to ask if it's going to like pump it or not, I cannot say that. Like, but for me, it's more like, they're helping each other. RWAs are like a bridge between the uh like traditional finance and then the like decentralized finance, and it's already like transforming DeFi by like bringing real world value into the like blockchain system. And it's more like from the user's perspective, how we're going, it can create it more like stability and trust, and making DeFi more like appealing into the traditional like investors. Like maybe we will have more investors that they're going to like look forward to. Oh, okay, like now we're going to have real world assets also including into this blockchain system. So maybe we will have a new group of investors, like new group of people that who is going to join us. But also, like other speakers have mentioned, it's not going to be that easy. And then now, what we're going to see, it's like we're seeing like what's the name of it? I saw like the first real world asset deal. It was 2 months ago, and now like this week the real asset is like going up a lot, and just because of what is going on in the world, like how the things are going on with the real world assets and then the Bitcoin, like how we are collaborating. But if you're going to ask me what I about this question, I feel like, let's see, I hope that DeFi is going to be in a different level with the RWS ACE, like to helping each other. And then also, I am also really interested in this like real world assets, because it's like really interesting to even hear, like if you're going to tell me the introduction. So I hope that it's going to like bring more something that we were not having it from, let's say, everyone is saying that we were in this industry for a really long time. But real world assets is like in a different way to, like show the investors or show the people that like, oh, this is something that you literally can touch or like can see, or it's really related to your like insurance. So it's really interesting. I hope it's going to be like that. But yeah, this is what I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's really interesting and awesome. Thank you so much for the opinions. And I think Andrew is back because I see you were offline before. So can you hear me right now?
I can.
Yeah.
My internet is a little bit choppy, but it's okay.
Okay, cool. So we're on the first question. You could share a little bit with your opinion with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think why is tokenization essential? For empowering traditional finance, I think it's definitely two different industries kind of combining together. I think the overall finance landscape is due for some sort of disruption, especially in a positive way. I mean, three ways I can dissect it is like the global way of transferring funds currently versus the way tokenization enables that to happen. I think that's going to be something that's very, very good to look forward to. I think when it comes to ownership into multiple different asset classes, I think someone brought it before, that's going to be one of the key ways that we can start achieving, well, world money in a very traditional industry today. And I think overall money flow, when it comes to different sectors of the world, how people actually interact with their funds and where they want to invest, how they want to invest in, that's gonna play a really big part when it comes to answering why tokenization is there. Besides that, everyone else has really kind of brought that up and answered that. But thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you so much, Andrew, for the sharing and also like what you've mentioned. And yeah, so this is for the first question. And thank you so much for our speakers to share your very insightful opinions on the first question. And yeah, next let's have the second question, like, what are some of the biggest challenges that bring RWS to the blockchain, and how can they be addressed? Firstly, I think let's have Tony. You want to go first?
Sure. Thank you. I would take a whack at this. I think the challenges, right? So I want to bring this up as the first thing we talk about bonds, stocks, and such, things. If you tokenize these things, the practice is literally re-securitizing, right? These things are easy to understand, and we may think, yeah, you say this is a tokenized treasury bond. Fine, it's very easy to understand. But there is a catch to this. The reason they are easy to understand is because they are regulated in the real world, right? Because of this, moving them on chain actually eventually will face regulatory challenges. I'll use an example. Do we think U.S. Department of Justice ultimately allow U.S. Treasury yields to enrich the state's enemies. I believe Chairman Powell once even mentioned this. He said, "Yeah, all these things are borrowing U.S. government's credit and the trustworthiness, right? So, are we going to let yields go to our enemies' hands to enrich them? Now, if not, then where is the compliance infrastructure on chain? And who does that?" So I see this challenge not a question of if, but a question of when. When the ecosystem gets large enough, it inevitably would invite the heavy-handed hammering from a global regulator. So I think that's one challenge. Then we can move on to the non-standard assets, right, where there's little or no regulatory challenge. Then the question becomes transparency, legal structure, and off-chain clearing. I want to be coherent here. Yeah, these non-standard assets don't have much regulatory challenge simply because they're kind of esoteric, hard to understand, quirky, right? So now you face a different set of a challenge. And then while the next is the market, right? While every RW originator can try to build their own infra, right, to solve the problems I mentioned. But it's very similar to the Web 1 world, where a company that wanted to go on net, back then it's not on chain, right? It's on net, would have to build their own. Then we see SaaS took off, right, which has been driving the entire Web2 economy, which essentially has shaped today's mass retail or consumer economy. So I believe we as, or at least us, we as the financial infra builder, we want to see scaling solutions that can free the resources of asset originators, right, to dramatically lower the barrier of access to blockchain so they can focus on their business. It is very, very much like today's e-commerces. They can use Shopify and stuff like that, right? And they don't have to build their systems. They don't have to build their shopping carts, customer service, payment solutions, shipping, logistics, all that. They don't have to be bothered by that. And their focus and their resources can be spent on the goods and the services that they provide. So that's my view of the challenges and some of the solutions. I think that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tony, for the very, how to say that? I think your and the team are very vision for the future of the DeFi and RWA trend. That's really awesome. And I think next let's have Jack, and to share a little bit for this question.
Yeah, I think the previous gentlemen have said it really, really clearly. Let me think what I should add. So, yeah, I think, for example, I think there's several points that I'll probably make. I think regulatory hurdles was discussed a lot from the previous gentleman. So many regions lack clear guidelines, right, for tokenizing real world assets, right? That's one of the things. And also you have legal ownership and custody issues. Okay, so transferring ownership rights via blockchain remains extremely complicated, right, and convoluted. And like, how do we prove that this thing is yours? Yes, you made a token, great. Anyone can make a token, right? So there's that counterparty risk, right? That trust in the issuer of the tokenized asset, right? How do you link that asset to the real world asset? That is a valuation and liquidity concern as well, right? So finding that transparent and reliable pricing mechanisms for RWA remains tricky, but we've seen a lot of innovation in this space as well, where we see projects and we see founders try and solve and try and link through various big companies that would accept these tokenization kind of efforts, right? So I think solutions such as developing decentralized identity, right, for regulatory compliance. And then you have on the tech side, you have things like smart contracts to automate legal processes and mitigate risk, right? So I think these things are in the making, but obviously it's a very small kind of example that I've made there. There's plenty of innovation to be done in the space to link what's real to what's virtual, right? To give it more kind of authenticity. Okay, so I think that would be the next step to make sure what's been done in DeFi is actually linked to what's done in the in real, right? So I think that's what gives it value. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jack, for the very insightful opinion and same, like Tony said, and agree with you, like the how to link to the real world because the real world, the assets very complicated, right? And there are a lot of things that need to be completed and. Just you mentioned the compliance and etc. Right? That's really awesome. And yeah, next, like, let's have Alfia to share your opinions on this question.
Oh, I have nothing to add on my side anymore. Like the first two speakers have already like outlined all of the details very thoroughly. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Tony said very comprehensive their insights. Okay, so how about Andrew? Do you anything want to add to the topic?
Yeah, definitely. I think look, a very there are a lot of different big challenges that tokenization faces, right? Especially when it comes to real assets. I think the first topic I kind of want to touch on is like indirect versus direct tokenization, right? And what that actually means. And the Jack before me brought that up as well. Like currently, majority of the market, indirect tokenization is currently happening, right? Assets go into an SPV gets tokenized, and then the owners or the token holders then indirectly own the asset, right? But then direct tokenization occurs when we're able to attach our tokenization technology, bring everything on chain, and be able to link that back to more, well, weird to say, but central databases to be able to be recorded. Like if you want to buy a house, and how do you really know if you own the house? It's if your name is on the deed, right? So I think that one of the biggest challenges I think would be integration into the existing systems that exist in the world, right? Whether it's government, whether it's business systems, so on and so forth. I would assume that business systems are a lot easier to integrate. One of the examples that I can probably give is that within Dubai, the Dubai Land Authority there has an API that tracks every rental price, every sale price, and the way they've built their database system is so robust that anybody within the real estate sector can request and get access to that. That's already showing that that's one step closer to us being able to integrate tokenization and token holders as actual named owners in particular properties without the SPV being present, right? So that's probably first challenge I think I'll see. The other thing I think both speakers already brought up, right? Regulation. After the integration is there, then comes how do you regulate it, right? I know governments around the world are starting to sandbox this, which is great. But from a framework perspective, I still do think that far off a mature framework to bring both sides of the coin together, right? So regulation. And then after you get through the hurdles of integration, of regulation, you then dive down to, all right, now that so-called backend is done and everyone agrees on how we're going to represent ownership, then comes the adoption and the education process, right? How do we then change the mindset of more traditional buyers across multiple different real asset categories, payment, or even centralized and decentralized finance categories, right? And how do we educate them and then get them to slowly adopt this? Right? It's definitely not a short-term adoption process. It's definitely a longer term, but I do feel that once we get through the integration hump, we'll definitely start to see trust build in the overall mass market. But yeah, these are the few, biggest challenges that I really see happening today.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, so much. That very informative and comprehensive insights for this question. And yeah, the challenges there we can see right now there are a lot of difficulties like the barriers to moving forward, but we still believe we can make it some days, right? Yeah, that's really cool for this question. And since we are talking about the challenges in this question, and yeah, I have a unique question for Ink Finance in Tony. What unique features does Ink Finance offer for managing the treasures of DAOs, RWA, and DeFi products effectively?
Thank you. For non-standard assets, I believe a prime market is the key to success. Right? We're talking about the marketplace and distribution. So you look at the professional DAOs, right, that are formed with family office or funds or rich individuals who have uh, personal experience in specific asset sector. These professional DAOs that can underwrite originations, that can form the first tier of distribution. They can face the issuers directly on the ink facility to verify and check and negotiate with kind of a prudence and expertise that are generally not available, from the general retail investors, right? So these professional DAOs have the advantage of setting up risk management and legal representation properly, right? And the ink facility makes this process and infrastructure very, very flexible. They can choose the type of asset, or they can choose the governance structure, the management tools, and the transparency tools according to the type of assets or the jurisdiction specific compliance. Only when the primary market participants conduct such level of due diligence on-chain transparently with integrity, then can these tokens that are underwritten by them further be distributed through retail-oriented networks on the blockchain. Right? So that is one key goal that we try to solve. We try to solve professional underwriting DAOs on the liquidity side, how they can sit together at the virtual table to negotiate with issuers, to enforce certain transparency integrity rules so that the asset issuers will face the first tier of liquidity to get done. Right? So that's the marketplace. Now, back to DeFi. Lots of innovative DeFi protocols, such as a physical backed option trading, right? And such as a certain indivisible rights and the claims. They actually cannot be tokenized in such a way to create a legal challenge in the real market, right? Real world. So let's say for physical delivery option trading, in order for the traders, retail traders, to achieve a higher leverage, you actually need somebody putting up the balance sheet to finance these things, right? And it is very, very hard for another individual to face an individual. It is simply impossible. So we have already launched a very successful option trading, market making, physical delivery market making DAO on Arbitrum, where pool the money together, hold a physical asset, basically lending their entire balance sheet to facilitate the retail traders, right? So that, again, needs governance, needs transparent risk control, needs custodian, needs prudent, transparent risk management rules so that the money can be pulled together to execute one single strategy, right? And then we have a credit product that will be launched in 2 weeks at a time. In these cases, the professionals sit together. For instance, then you have a loan. Then the loan is backed by real world collateral. And loan goes back. Question is very simple. Who is the legal representative? They can, in the real world, go to the court to enforce on the collateral. And we have many competitors out there. I don't think that is a joke, right? You have 1,000 retail wallets sitting there, taking on a loan that is backed by an indivisible collateral, which let's say is a receivable or an inventory, a piece of a commodity. Who enforces that? Court will never say there's 1,000 claimants against this one collateral. Who can do that? Then you need a governance system to transparently elect and appoint and assign these roles to a verified wallet. Now you answer the question, what does it mean, verified wallet? How to verify that? That is the kind of solution we provide to scale the operation by providing a tool that anybody can pick and choose the relevant parts from the offer to get the job done. So that is, I want to answer specifically RWA origination and underwriting DAOs and the DeFi protocol liquidity pooling. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tony, for the very, I would say that brilliant sharing. Every time I heard about what you going to share with us, I can feel your passion. Yeah, it's really awesome. And and if you guys have any interest in like the products and the mechanism that Tony shared just before with the Ink Finance, make sure you guys already follow their Twitter to catch up more updates of their project. Yeah, but I think that's second question. And so we're going to like the next question, like, what is your vision for the future of WAs in DeFi? How do you see the relationship between WAs and traditional finance evolving over the next few years? And I think let's start from Alfia and give Tony a few minutes to have a rest. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hi. Um, I mean, when it comes to like RWAs in DeFi, I think we'll all see like the impactful shift, and but it's not like without challenging. Like tokenizing real world assets definitely has like potential, but like what others mentioned earlier, so it's like full of challenging, and but like RWA is becoming more integrated into DeFi. It's going to take time, particularly like because of the complex, like more complicated around the regulation, trust, and adoption. The tech is there, but the market needs to like catch up in terms of infrastructure, infrastructure and legal frameworks that like others were mentioning earlier. Yeah, and as for the relationship with the traditional finance, and I see it becoming like becoming like chaotic at first. Traditional institutions will likely dip their toes into like exploring tokenized assets, but maybe like hesitate to fully embrace DeFi into the short terms. So over the next few years, I expect like more partnerships between DeFi and like other platforms or traditional finance, as both sides can see the like value in like combining their stretch like all together. But the roads to full integration will probably be like I said, it will take some time, so it will be slower than like we expect or I expect. Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Afia, for the very insightful perspectives from you. And yeah, for this question, let's have Jack. So, could you share a little bit for this question?
Yeah, so I think RWAs could bridge the gap between traditional finance, right, TradeFi and DeFi, by allowing things like real-world assets to be tokenized, traded, right, and collateralized, right. But I think we do need a deeper integration between institutional finance and blockchain platforms, as trust and adoption grow over time. And I think over the next couple of years, hybrid systems where traditional banks interact with blockchain platforms could emerge, and it needs to emerge because it brings that validity into this whole kind of narrative, right? At the moment, it's people are building and making new technologies based on these, I would say, narrative and or ideas, right? But it's very hard to gain mass adoption. But once we get these traditional finance people in, that's where the validity and the trust could be built, right? And then you have tokenized assets could also become part of the mainstream portfolios, right? And it would offer new liquidity options for traditionally kind of illiquid assets. But obviously, like we like a house to a NFT, right? It's not like where you can sell a house in a second, right? You can't really do that. You got to find a buyer. You got to do that, right? So it's going to be difficult for some of these larger, I would say, assets to be tokenized. But as we know, traditional finance people, hey, they'll find a way, right? If there's billions there to be made, they will find a way, trust me. And then they'll probably crash the financial markets again. But that is how it is, right? We've seen that over and over again. And, obviously I'm a bit pessimistic on this front, but we've seen it so many times, right? Hopefully this could change, right? This could kind of bring a new horizon, I would say, to this whole idea of traditional finance. So I think RWAs is a way to actually get more involvement from the traditional finance people into DeFi, right? And then lastly, I think growth in partnerships between DeFi platforms and traditional finance institutions will bring more drive to more sophisticated RWA use cases. So yeah, I think bright future ahead. Obviously, a lot of hurdles to be seen and solved. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jack, for the sharing. And I agree with you that the more and more people will get involved into the industrial and also the RWA and DeFi trend. Yeah, thank you so much. And next, let's have Tony. So, what's your opinion?
Lots of great points shared by the other speakers. So I think within the context of this question, right, we can view DeFi as a way of trading, a mechanism of trading as platforms. And then RWAs can be thought of what's being traded on these platforms. So that is, I see a natural fit there. And, you look at today's main DeFi lending, they focus on collateralized lending. Right? But RWA can add to credit-based lending. And as we all know, credit is the only real mechanism of money creation, right? So we call ourselves cryptocurrencies. If there is no money creation, there isn't really any sense of a financing. And so TradFi institutions, I mean, they just have a very, very high take-on cost of initiating transactions of non-standard products. So my view is that it is unlikely for them to embark onto issuance and underwriting. However, as Jack previously keenly pointed out, if they can adopt blockchain tech under their regulatory fold and let the hard and dirty work be done decentralized orgs on blockchain, then they actually can use the immutable and the transparent nature of the blockchain to vet these assets. And in that sense, they can then use the regulatory framework at the network, right, to actually serve as mass distributors of such assets. That's how I see like the TradFi people can have a real play in this domain. And the last but not least, I personally don't believe for a second that blockchain, DeFi, RWA can topple TradFi institutions, but it can significantly augment the scope that these institutions can play in and what they can cover. Right? So I think they complementary to each other. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Very brilliant sharing. And yeah, let's have Andrew to share a little bit for this question.
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, all the speakers have brought up like tremendous points. I think to answer the first part, like, what is my overall vision, right? For the future, these industries, I think, will definitely coexist together. I think that will also bring more choice from a more macro perspective. From an adoption perspective, it'll bring more choice to the consumers globally on where they want to get potential financing from. That's number one. It will also change the processes of how people start to look and perceive, whether it's traditional financing, whether it's decentralized financing, whether it's RWAs across multiple different categories. For us, it's real estate, right? That's what I see from a vision perspective. I think all these development is really just going to give more choice to the general market out there, so that everyone can kind of coexist in the industry together. Different points of integration and different points of cross synergy will definitely be established between trade financing, between DeFi, and the underlying, in my eyes, would definitely be RWAs, right? Have things collateralized. Beside that, I mean, it all promotes this one kind of philosophy that we have as a company. It's all about like getting seamless access to multiple different asset classes around the world. It's all about that borderless investment and flow of funds. And then lastly, it's really about accessing global facilities as and when you want. In today's world, you're bounded by the country that you stay in, you're landlocked, you're governed by the rule sets of the country, right? But when you go more into the DeFi space and RWA space, especially when it comes to investment or seeking funds, there's now really a global market, right? Instead of a more focused, localized market. So yeah, these are just few points, right? One example that I can add to traditional finance, adopting crypto and Web3 and RWA, I think can't really say who, but one of the banks that we're currently working with, they're actually creating, or it's an investment bank, they're actually creating new investment products for the mass market currently to enable the general layman investor to start investing into the Web3 environment. And they're starting with RWAs, they're starting with something more stable, real estate. That's how we got in the conversation with them, right? So as these kind of things flow into market more, it does prop up the overall industry, right? It does give it a sense of credibility. It definitely does give it a sense of trust and safety, and that just uplifts the entire future of all sectors together. Yeah, that's all from me, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Andre, for the very informative sharing. And thank you all for this question and the sharing of the opinions you've got. That's really useful for the audiences, I think. Yeah, and here we are going to like the last question. It's the Web3 infrastructure sector is developed rapidly. In your opinion, what kind of infrastructure is needed to support RWA, DeFi, and other sectors development? And yeah, I think that's start from Tony.
Thank you. And going back to my analogy of Web 1 to Web 3, Web 2 transition, right? I, I see scaling tools. I see SaaS like scaling infra, right? They can not only help origination, but also underwriting and liquidity pooling. And if we could see many such platforms or tools pushed to the market where the barrier of entry becomes minimal, and so for all the people who are, focused on liquidity pooling, let them focus on that. The people who are good at asset origination and asset sourcing, let them focus on that, right? These infrastructures would be very useful and very helpful to basically bring a very esoteric, I'm just being honest here, right? Even treasury bonds or treasury notes, and in the real world, they're like the easiest to understand kind of thing. But if you look at the crypto space today, they're just tiny, right? The reason is that scaling is very for RWA and credit-based DeFi in a general term to have a major role in the crypto space. I think that type of infra, scaling infra, is badly, urgently needed. Right? To a certain degree, certain deeping projects can serve the purpose as well, because the Web2 world is already fully integrated. For instance, if you want to finance income stream of EV chargers, we have already seen infrastructures putting, they will put these 5G chips in each charger, right? So every time when a user charges the vehicle, that cash flow can be then aggregated through a DPay system, right? And that feeds into any financial operations to prove the existence of cash flow without going through a bank system, right? These are the infra that we see are very innovative, and if put together correctly, that will basically revolutionize the space. And the next I want to point out is that the DeFi protocols, as we already talked about, if DeFi is a way of trading, right? And the DeFi protocols should think about how to embed decentralized risk control and financial governance mechanisms. I think they're dramatically lacking to service the real demand if we are talking about RWA and credit-based DeFi, right? If every DeFi runs risk and compliance like Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley, well, there's no need for them to ever exist. Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley are just fine, right? So is there a way to do governance and the risk control and the transparency in a decentralized way to spread out that kind of a work and to put that in for that kind of a decentralized risk control, whether it's by jurisdiction, by product type, by sector? If these protocols can think about these things in the long run, and it makes, again, the size of the liquidity, the reach of RWAs or credit products much, much bigger than it is today. So that's sort of my input on this question.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Very, very detailed and informative. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think for this question, let's have Jack, your opinion on this.
Yeah, no, I think Tony hit the nail on the head. So things like more scalable layer 1 and layer 3 solutions, or even layer 1 solutions, are needed for handling these high volume transactions. And obviously, we've got to reduce fees. Talking about, coming from a normal user perspective, people want to trade, people want to hedge, people want to do staking, all these things, lending. I think these all coming together through things like identity verification tools is also needed. So you got decentralized identity solutions for regulatory compliance. We also need robust cross-chain interoperability protocols to ensure the smooth asset transfers across multiple blockchains. Right. One of the problems that we have right now, there's so many chains, right? There's so many chains, right? They all basically work the same thing, unless you have a different kind of programming language, right? Talking about things like Aptos, Solana, and things like that. Finally, I think we also need what's really missing right now, I think, is oracles, right? We need a better oracle to ensure the accuracy and reliability of real world data entering the blockchain, and how we do real data reporting into the blockchain. That remains a big question mark in my head, right? Because I haven't seen anything that's actually, kind of able to kind of have a real time kind of data by second. Okay, so that is yet to be seen. And then finally, we have things like enhanced smart contract security and audit mechanisms to prevent vulnerabilities in these RWA tokenization. I mean, you don't want a hack happening and then you lose like 10 of your houses, right? So these are the things that we've seen before in DeFi. How we can prevent that and kind of build the infrastructure around these core kind of principles that allows people then to have confidence in using RWA and trading RWA. I mean, going from booking hotels, right, to buying, I don't know, drinks in the bar, okay, or investing, and then going to the big things like investing in real estate, right, investing in a tangible kind of asset that's that's real to the touch and things like that. It remains to be seen, but I definitely think RWA would be a real powerful use case for DeFi, sorry, for Web3, if it were to kind of solve these issues and really have the backing of the traditional instruments that's able to kind of allow us to really dive into this new kind of narrative. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Jack. Very exciting for the sharing and accept the scalable and also you mentioned the oracles, and that's really I would say novel and very fresh idea for that. Thank you so much. And yeah, next let's have Alfia. So, what's your opinion?
Well, I agree with all of the gentlemen that what they were saying earlier, and still the points that the how I should say, like blockchain like networks also need to significantly improve their performance to address currency issues with the high cost and then the low effectivity, and the user experience has to be like simplified, and also like we have mentioned earlier, the education. So there's so many like small points and to improve, and then what we have to do is kind of like what we are doing also needs to have some support from the each of the governments, and how they want to like RWAS, like they definitely need the, let's say like if American recently like the president, like who is going to be and then how is going to be also is going to relate it off like this industry or like RWS or DeFi, like how the how we're going to be like in the end, like how is going to be like how the frameworks is going to be done. So there's a lot and all the points we have already mentioned, and then these are like really big challenges. I mean like it's small, like, but in like if you're going to put all of them together, it's going to be really big. So let's see, like by the time pass, like, and maybe I mean I believe we can overcome them like step by step. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Afia, for the sharing. And yeah, I agree with you. Like, there are a lot of factors uh, to influence the whole industrial what it will going to be. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And next, let's have Andre. So, share a little bit with us for this question.
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, all the speakers brought up very accurate and very straightforward points, and I think that that's very clear when it comes to how do we really want to advance. The only thing that I would really add is everyone's building interoperability between chains, right? That one, it's not new. It's great that a lot of projects are doing it now. The one thing that I think we all need to start focusing on is building bridges that connect us to the Web 2 world, to certain infrastructure that might be outdated, just to be able to get that mass adoption going. I do feel that the one thing the Web 2 is industry has that the Web 3 doesn't have yet is simplicity, right? We can have all the amazing technology at our hands, but if no one uses it, it's not really amazing, right? So we need to get global adoption going. And the fastest way to do that is to start building bridges, start connecting with people within that existing Web2 space and seeing how we can really drive the cross benefit and migrate a lot of people over there in a very seamless way, right? That's the only real thing I want to add. Just making sure that there's more tech that bridges things together.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, for the additional part. Yeah, I think that the bridge is also like the crucial role that played in the like to connect the Web 2 and Web 3. That's really nice to hear about that opinion. And yeah, I think that's all the questions for our today's conversation. That's really awesome to have you all here and share a lot of like very unique and useful and I would say informative and insightful opinions on our today's topics. That's really awesome. Thank you all. And yeah, I encourage all our audiences to follow our speakers to catch up like the project updates and also some news or like the how to say the updates of the industrial and perspectives of the industrial. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I think that's all for today. Thank you all. So have a nice day, guys. Tony and Andre, and also Afia and Jack. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
very much.
Sunny. Thank you. And thank you all for the panelists. It's great to share with you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you. Appreciate your time. Okay, see you next time. Bye bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.